Hi. So today I'm going to continue talking over the suggested talking points from Patreon patron Aaron DeErico. He has asked me to talk about a few topics, which for which I am very grateful. And keep an eye out for his work. He is currently working on a comic. He's established his own style. He's getting more and more comfortable with his drawing stuff, and but he wants me to just talk about certain topics, uh, just to hear my point of view. I think he kind of knows what he wants, uh, and he's kind of got stuff ready to go in his head. But so here's one of the suggested talking points, and actually I'm going to combine two of them because they kind of run in together. So one of the suggestions is how to create a manga Western animation hybrid art style like Scott Campbell, Joe Madureira, and Adam Warren. And secondarily, the key to strong character designs and how to create an iconic silhouette. So I thought that I'd combine these two because J. Scott Campbell and Joe Mad both have such great iconic silhouetted characters. I'm also going to talk about other things besides that, but yeah. Although here's my one caveat here, or my one thought. Uh, Manga Western animation hybrid art styles. J. Scott Campbell, I don't think he's a manga Western hybrid. I will talk about why in a little while. Joe Mad absolutely is. Very Camp Calm. In the previous video that I've talked about. Um, yeah, I'm going to. I'll point that out. But I've talked about it before. And Adam Warren is absolutely not even. I can't say that he's a manga Western animation hybrid. I think he's just a manga artist that happens to be American. Um, the key to strong silhouette. Okay, so and I forgot to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Luis Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 20 years. And let's get to it. Let's talk about J. Scott Campbell. I'm a fan of, well, all three of these guys really. J. Scott Campbell is for me an inspiration just because he's so clear about the way he brands himself. He's a great businessman. He's got a fantastic style. He's got a nice. He's his brand is clear. Um, and on top of all of that, he's a great draftsman. Joe Mad again, same thing. Great draftsman. Love his design style. Very dynamic. Um, not as doesn't seem to he's a little bit more of a comic book artist rather than the businessman that J. Scott Campbell has become. And Adam Warren is a little bit of both. I think he's got his brand down and everything, and he's also very much his own businessman. Most of his stuff now is all creator owned. It's so okay. So let's actually talk about this stuff first. Before I even talk about J. Scott Campbell, I have this all set up. I just really want to talk about really quick. Um, I've talked about design and style before. I've talked about manga, and so I've talked here is developing a unique drawing style, drawing style and character design pointers, style versus versatility, which to pursue, comparing manga versus anime styles in Western cartoon, developing style in manga, anime, Western. So I actually made um, a playlist on my YouTube channel, and you can see it, and it's called Art Styles and Design, and I will link to the playlist in the show notes below. So just in case you want to hear more of this stuff, yeah, that's me talking about this stuff. Alrighty. And please, like, You know what? I never liked my stuff here. Boink. Yay. All right. So let's get to it. Oh, and before I even continue doing that, also I talk about this stuff in the drawing website. I do have figure drawings with style, uh, designing simple cartoon characters with flat shapes, and I'm what I'm going to talk about right now is a little bit about is in general what I'm going to some of these things that I'm going to be talking about, spacing and proportion and all this other stuff. I break it down with simple flat shapes, but all this stuff can get very complex. It's just easier to portray these things with very simple concepts and shapes. Okay. All right. J. Scott Campbell. J. Scott Campbell. Again, he's got a very clear brand to his style. He has his characters have very clear silhouettes. Now, one of the things that I admire very much about J. Scott Campbell is that yes, he has this brand look. You know, all his women, well, they're basically all the same. This is one of the things that I have a love-hate relationship with just generally in comic artists in general. This isn't absolute. There's some artists that do things a little bit different, but in general, comic artists pick like one Barbie doll look, and that's it. The one. It's kind of like manga where they only have the one face, and then every woman has the same face and the hair is different. Well, J. Scott Campbell has kind of done the same thing. That he has this formulaic one woman face, and then he kind of goes around and he just does little subtle changes, like the eyes just a little different, but it's generally the same woman with different hair. However, J. Scott Campbell is not a one-trick pony, and in spite of the fact that it seems that way, because um, he can do other things. Look, in this particular, this is a sketchbook series of his work, and you can see that. Look at these caricatures. He is so good at seeing likenesses and just capturing likeness. I mean, the guy is he can draw. He can draw so well. Like look at there. I love seeing his caricatures because it explores it's still his style, but it explores how versatile he is and how his draftsmanship isn't just a formula that he sticks to. He can play around with shapes and observation. Look at these gorgeous caricatures of Harrison Ford. I mean, and oh my gosh. I mean, look at this. Look at this. I forgot the actor's name. Phoenix. I forgot his first name, but oh my gosh, he's so good. Look. I love these. I love these. He's just so good, right? Like, so, and look at this. Okay, so this is him heavily influenced by Jack Davis. Now, if you don't know who Jack Davis is, he's Mad Magazine caricature artist. And I can tell that he is basically aping Jack Davis here because he's doing the Jack Davis shading. Okay? So this is why I don't consider J. Scott Campbell one of the reasons why he's a manga hybrid anything. He's just, if anything, okay, I'm going to tell you what I think his style is in a second. But I just want to point out how amazing this is, and see how this is like not symmetrical, because that is absolutely a Jack Davis thing. This is Jack Davis. And so now I don't know you recognize his art, but absolutely that was the previous drawing was J. Scott Campbell like doing his take on Jack Davis, and isn't it amazing to watch him do that? Um, let's see if I could get. I'm looking for something that will actually show the line work that Jack Davis does. You can kind of see it there a little bit. Um, but yeah, I love Jack Davis. He's absolutely phenomenal. And just to and then he's doing his version of Jack Davis. It's amazing. J. Scott Campbell, he can do so much. But he's branded himself with this. So that's what he does the most. But I'd rather see him do this than most about just about anything else. Look at this. Look at these caricatures, man. Oh my gosh, this is why I like J. Scott Campbell. Not because of this. This is okay, but oh, this is what takes him over the top for me. Okay, J. Scott Campbell. J. Scott Campbell is not a manga hybrid because what he actually is a Disney. If you cross Disney with Jim Lee, you get J. Scott Campbell. So basically, J. Scott Campbell comes from the Jim Lee school of art. Okay, this is the Jim Lee thing. This is earlier Jim Lee. And if you doubt that J. Scott Campbell comes from a Jim Lee school of art, or is basically Jim Lee but slightly different. I'm gonna show you. Where is it? I got a pic. There. Look at that. See that? Let's look at the Jim Lee one here. See? So that's early J. Scott Campbell. This is where he came from, right? This is also early J. Scott Campbell. Look how whacked out this head shape is, and it's just the eye. It's so weird. Like where when you see him his roots, like this. This is just totally 90s Jim Lee knockoff. It's just it's still his shapes, but that's where he was coming from. Um, so this is a sketch from him. This is not a little bit more. Oh yeah, and look at this. Look how whacked out this is. This is more like uh Liefeld looking. This looks like Liefeld. But this is J. Scott Campbell, early J. Scott Campbell. And it says 1973, but that's not. This is just a chapter of the book. This is probably 1993 or 92 or something. So, right? See, like 93 on this one. So he's come a long way. Like he just started out being like a kind of a Jim Lee school type clone, and now he's doing stuff like this. Okay, so again, Joe Mad. Just take a look, really quick look at some of his artwork. Joe Mad is also comes from slightly from the Jim Lee school. I don't have any of his early work ready to go and point out here, but his stuff is much more the Camp Com style. So he's definitely the hybrid of all the guys that were mentioned. He's definitely the hybrid artist of Western and Eastern. And then we've got Adam Warren, and he just draws manga style. He has been doing like these kind of things recently. Um, so his style has actually developed much more from his earlier. Uh, this is still more recent than anything else, but his stuff is much more manga. Actually, his stuff is actually developing slightly more Western. Actually, he's slowly becoming more Western. It's very odd because he's adding like real noses, or at the very least, actual nostrils. He's no longer doing the just the nose shape, the symbol of the nose shape. He's breaking away from that, from this nose shape, and going and actually making a nose. See, so I maybe I should take that back. I think well, he is a Western Eastern hybrid. He used to be just pure manga, but now he is definitely more of a hybrid. So I take it back. He's not full on manga anymore. Um, he's a little bit of both. Alrighty. So let's talk about design and silhouettes, and let's take some of these just J. Scott Campbell. I actually I'll take this because this is really clear. By the way, that's not me being it's here because I have my son here. I like this picture. That little guy's so cute. All right, so let me drag this in here. Let's talk about this dude. Now, one of the things that I left off in the video previous to this is I was talking about design because I talked about draftsmanship mostly, but when it comes to style, design is almost everything. Um, and by design, I mean that you take something and you don't do a standard proportion guide on everybody. You don't split the face in half. You don't follow any of the proportion guides that anybody ever tells you to do. The whole this, and then you break and then you have to, and you cut it in this in half, and then this is how you find out the proportion. Not all that goes out the window when you're talking about design. You don't because this is death. Perfect proportion is dull. Okay, when it comes to style and design, one of the things that even the earliest J. Scott Campbell art did have were these really long, lanky uh, characters, and he's kept that. That's the one constant in all his stuff. He's got all his characters seem to be very, very long. Um, so if you break down these characters into silhouettes, let's just take this shape here. I'm trying to figure out what a good clear. I mean, all of these characters are very clear standing, and they all have very clear silhouettes. Um, I am going to blacken these things out because we are talking about silhouettes here. I like to see the underdrawing because it shows me the work. When we talk about silhouettes, we're talking about graphics. What are the graphics? The flat graphics that give something interest. So that is the silhouette, her silhouette. And it's already interesting. Notice that these legs, let me see if I can. Boy. Oh, here it is. All right. Let's measure the legs here. Okay, so notice that these legs here, from the crotch to the tip of her heel, are longer than her entire top of her body. They are enormously long, okay? She is not in any way, shape, or form split in two. Um, let's try something. Top of her head to her crotch. Yeah. That even this area, like you would think that maybe this area would be half of, you know, it's not. Like, let's see her legs, from her knee to the top of her thigh. See, that's not even either. Do you see? This is what design is. Design is being completely as asymmetrical and imbalanced as possible while still making it all feel harmonious and look right and beautiful. That's what design is. When you look at his work, this stuff, the characters are not evenly broken up into perfect proportions. Um, So first, that's kind of the key to having an interesting and unique silhouette is to not make everything look even and boring. Okay? So that's key. I'm going to look at Joe Mad soon. But there's just so much you can learn just from design, just the through about design just by examining his same thing with this character's face. I'm sure that it doesn't follow any kind of proportion guidelines. So usually you're told, well, this is trickier because the character's looking down. I don't know if you'll be able to see. But usually what you're told is that from the chin to the top of the head, you split this. And it looks like he actually did that. It's generally split in half from the top. Generally. So it looks like he's generally split. He's drawing a more beautiful, idealized woman. So had he been doing a much more unique designed um, character, it would have been different, I think. Okay, so now let's break this down. From the face, whoops. You can't even see it, huh? Let me make another line because you can't even see what I'm doing. Let me delete this. Okay, so basically from the tip of her forehead to, yeah, see? This splits in half. Now, traditionally, the nose should be right in the middle. And it doesn't seem to be. Let's find out. But again, she's looking down, so. So this is the eye line. Not quite. It's kind of there. And the mouth is absolutely, definitely not in the middle because it's usually the case. But his seems to be a little bit longer, I think. Okay. Um, if you want to make a generic looking or beautiful person, you kind of generally want to stick around as even as possible. If you want to make a unique looking person, that's a different story altogether. I'm pretty sure that if we were to look at these characters, their faces would not match the ideals. So one of the key elements, at least for silhouettes, again, is breaking up shapes. Um, Not all these shapes are the same. These shapes taper. So graphically, here's here's a straight versus a curve, straight versus a curve, straight versus a curve, uh, curve, and then there's straight, and then there's like a bump here because that's pretty much the way it is. Another way of seeing it is um, here's a curve, and then this goes into another curve, and then this goes into another curve. Straight, straight, curve, curve, straight-ish. So here again, This is a nice little tapered arm shape. But I think perhaps it didn't do that. No, this is a little bit this way. That was just me adding that extra element there. This goes in here. This is like a wave. Just goes right in here lyrically. Seeing how this is just a graphic here. So it's overall it's about the shape that you're trying to get. Yeah, I didn't quite capture the silhouette. This is what it is. That that's what's going on there. It's a weird arm. Okay. Let's look at some Joe Mad stuff. His shapes are fantastic. I mean, look at this thing. Oh, this is perfect. This is him doing the silhouettes for me. I don't even have to do anything here. I just have to talk about it. Let me talk about it. All right, so let's take a look. These are just massive. It's just the beauty here is about the shape relationships. Oops. You've got massive shape here with a tiny shape, and then another massive shape. And this massive shape is not the same size as this one. This massive shape taken as a whole, because that's what it is a great graphic shape, is bigger than this. This here is one shape that's even bigger than this, and then you've got a tiny, tiny shape down here, up here, right? Great. Look at this, and then it's just like, bam, a big block. Again, same here. He's just thinking about graphic shapes when he's doing these things. It's flat. All of these things are just flat graphics. Do you see? And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about design in my design thing. When I'm talking about shapes and graphics and breaking up the shapes so that they're not um, even. So like you're breaking things up into this is the super simple version of this. It's still, look at this. He just drew a graphic. He basically just drew you could see the rough as a guide, and then he added a little bit more texture to the graphic as he finessed it. But what he's basically seeing is not like these. He's thinking design first. He's not even thinking structure. He's not thinking about construction so much as what makes an appealing graphic that draws the eye. How can I make this interesting? How can I juxtapose smaller shapes versus longer shapes, thinner shapes versus fat shapes, tapered shapes versus straight shapes, blocky shapes versus soft shapes? That's kind of what you want when you're thinking about creating a silhouette um, and designing stuff like that. If you're and so when you if you're trying to come up with like some kind of hybrid design style, um, look at the graphic shapes that manga artists use. Look at the graphic shapes that Western guys use, and see if you can marry different variations of shapes together. Um, Adam Warren, I don't know if I'll be able to clearly show this anything that's even similar to what I'm talking about here. But this, in and of itself, is the design of a graphic dark shape, and this is all done as if it's all tone, and he's just working with shapes here. So he also clearly thinks about. You could see. Oh yeah, yeah. See, if you look down here, he's got the guide of. It's just he doesn't even he at this point when he's thinking about drawing, you can see very lightly that he's not thinking about graphic shape at all. And then he starts finessing the shape as he starts developing it. But what he's got here is one tapered flat shape, and then he slowly finesses it and adds a little bit more interest. Same here. Very simple, starts off simple, and then he starts elaborating. Ah, this is great. Little head, big shape here. This big shape is all torso. And then it goes into this tapered shape down here. And you can see his underline drawing. You can see that he was drawing through, and then he added these mega flat graphical, not flat, but they're just much more meaty because it adds more interest to have this kind of heavy barrel shape here, and then tapered tiny legs that they just come down. It's very Hellboyish in a way. And on top of that, he's got this tiny round head that just kind of pops out of this just massive, massive body. Then when you get the lineup of these characters, and you can see the graphics. Now he tends to have a formulaic body type, I think. General. I think he changes the breast sizes, but he generally has about the same body type. But even with his stuff, um, from the neck to the crotch, and from the if you okay, well, if you look at from the crotch down here to the tip of her legs, it and you measure it. I don't have. I would have to bring it into Manga Studio to show it, but it's actually again longer than her entire top torso. It goes all the way up to here. You can kind of see it. So again, she's not split down the middle. The way that this shape is designed, it looks like his crotch is way down here. And that makes his torso, his upper body, much longer than his stubby legs. It gives him a stubby leg look, even though his crotch is probably about here or so. But he's got this shape going on that really breaks up um, and adds more interest. It makes a much more interesting silhouette. Um, I would say that there's this book called The Skillful Huntsman. If you want to see this kind of silhouette notion in action, I recommend going to Amazon and picking up the Skillful Huntsman, um, because it does have examples of silhouettes. In fact, here's a page from the book. So if you just want to focus on doing silhouettes and learn and think about these things just graphically, definitely the Skillful Huntsman is the place to go and see examples of this. So there's like, you just fill a page with these silhouettes. Just make shapes. Find the interesting shapes. Look for ways to break up the shapes so that they're not all generic. You see. And if you want to get a good silhouette, then you start with a silhouette. However, keep this in mind. Don't think that, okay, so once you pick say you're going to pick this and you start developing it. Don't assume that because you have this one thing that that's it, the end. No, at that point, once you have like this thing, then you start making more adjustments and variations and variations and variations on the one. First, you just start off trying to find something. Then once you choose one, then you start making variations of that, and you start playing with it and messing with it and trying to break it. And then you come up with really great silhouettes. Um, but add the details in there. See how they work. See how, like, and by break it, I mean like you're not doing just a silhouette. You're at that point you're developing the drawing, adding faces and anatomy and all that stuff. Um, Let me show you an example. I hope I have a good example here. Here, there we go. So this is kind of what I was talking about. Is that once you've decided on a particular shape, then you start messing with it within. You start doing variations of it within within your silhouette, and then you start refining and refining, and you start developing and messing with it and changing it around and just making adjustments and things like that. It's not just okay, the end. I got it, the end. You play with it and you continue messing with it until you get something. So you may fill out a page full of heads just to try to get just the right look. Squished heads and bigger heads and different eyeballs and different locations of the face. And you see what I'm saying? Like it's just variations on a theme. So once you have that silhouette, you start doing variations on the theme. So yeah, I didn't really do that much drawing this time around. It was just more of analysis. Uh, but I hope that this helped. I hope that showing you this stuff helped you out. If it did, and if you want to also give me suggestions for other talking points, and for videos, let me know via the comments below, or email me, or whatever. Just if you have questions, if you want to see me draw something, explain it, just to see how I would do X or Y or whatever, also let me know. If there's any kind of struggle that you're having with drawing, I'll be happy to try to help you out with. Or if you simply want to see me draw your favorite character or your favorite D&D character that you came up with yourself and you have a sketch of it and you want me to do a version of it, I'll do that too. Um, but yeah, just and, uh, and just to let you know, uh, I do have a Patreon uh, page, and you can go there, and you will receive these videos first before anybody else gets to see it. Um, the questions from my patrons get answered long before any other questions get answered from anybody outside of that group. So my patrons get first dibs on videos. They also get first dibs on the questions that I answer, and they also get PSD files of my artwork, including the PSD files of anything that I draw in these videos. They also get that, and they get JPEGs and many other uh, things. They get ads placed on my websites and stuff like that. So and on even higher levels, you could get a one-on-one with me via video, and then we can chat one-on-one about anything you want to chat about, specifically drawing or whatever it is. So my Patreon page is down here below. There's a link here. There's also a link in the show notes, and go check it out and see if you want to join up and support me there. I really appreciate it, and so does my babies, my baby. So yeah, I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.